Okay, so normally I think about what I want to say and type it for a long period of time. I don't do videos unless I'm doing music stuff, right? So I was sitting here doing this and I was thinking like what I was going to type, and I was like, I might as well just do a video because I think that might actually be more meaningful. This is a piece of balsa wood. It's a piece of balsa wood that I bought last week. I'm not a woodworker. I've never really lived in one place long enough to be able to build up a tool skill set, right? Sadly enough, I've dabbled over the years and I remember what I learned from my dad when I was a kid, but I'm learning now because one of my favorite things to do is to make things and give them to people. And so I've been learning to stain wood for the last couple weeks. And by learning to stain wood, what I mean is that I went out to Walmart and I bought like the cheapest brush I could find and the cheapest stain I could find and the cheapest balsa wood I could find. And I went home and I just raw dogged it, for lack of a better term. And I just got this brush, put it on there, and it was disgusting. And it was on this piece of balsa wood that I did that stain. Now, I had done some others beforehand, but this piece in particular, I decided that I was gonna spare and try and salvage tonight. So after I got done at work, because I live in an apartment, I came out to the workshop here at my office and started sanding this thing. And while I was sanding, I had kind of a revelation. And again, this isn't something I normally do, but it was speaking pretty powerfully to me as I was doing it. So I figured I would share it if you guys don't mind. Okay, yeah, so this is this piece of balsa wood, right? And I said that I stained it haphazardly, essentially, right? Like I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't look up any videos on staining, nothing. I was like, I'm gonna figure this thing out myself. Stained this piece of balsa wood like 3 times over. And it was ugly, sticky, gross, nasty, whatever, you know, and I just left it sitting there for a few days. And then today, I had kind of like another epiphany earlier today, completely separate from this. But I decided I was gonna try and save this piece of wood. So like I looked at this piece of wood and I was like, I'm gonna save this, right? So after work tonight, I came out here and I started sanding off all of that stain that I put, those 3 coats of stain that I put on here. And as I was doing that, I had this revelation. That stain came to be a part of, like, it not a part of, it identified, what am I trying to say? It became the identity of this piece of wood. You couldn't look at this wood without seeing that ugly, hideous stain that was on the wood and associating that stain with the wood. That stain was the wood, right? It was me in my 20s, just haphazardly jumping out into the world and living my life. And I was the stained wood, and it was gross. It was absolutely disgusting. It was terrible to look at, and it was the identity of this piece of wood until tonight, when I looked at this thing and I wanted to save it. And I started sanding it off, and I used some 80 grit. And right now, I just finished the 80 grit. I'll be doing a 120 next. So the thing that's interesting about it, though, is that even though I'm saving it, I'm currently saving it. I'm still saving it. You can see the old stain there. Like you can see the stain on it, but you can also tell that this wood is being saved, and that it's being returned to its previous beautiful pale balsa condition. But you can still see the marks of the stain, but the stain no longer identifies, or I should say the stain no longer is the identity of this piece of wood. This piece of wood is returning to its purified state in real time in front of me. And cheesy analogy, right? But the Holy Spirit is like a sander working on you, you know? He's got that 80 grit coming in, and these are the sins that you're gonna keep doing after you come to Christ. These are the sins that you're gonna this is the addiction that you're still gonna be in. And it's just going to become smaller and smaller and smaller, and it's going to become less a part of your identity and a part of what Christ is working on you through the Holy Spirit to sand out of your soul. I beat myself up a lot because of my continued sin. And there's a quote from one of the saints of the church, and I don't remember who it is, so somebody please feel free to tell me, but said that, you know, all thoughts of guilt and shame come from the devil. And that's absolutely true. And I think it took me sanding this piece of wood tonight and choosing this piece of wood to save and sanding that stain away for me to realize that, you know, this stain isn't my identity. It's still on there and it's still being worked on, but this wood's being purified. Anyway, it's kind of a little bit of a little revelation that I had tonight, and I just wanted to share with everyone, so God bless.